Hey guys, I know I haven't made a video in a while. I haven't had a ton of inspiration, but I have still been playing some Yu-Gi-Oh here and there, mostly Edison format. I haven't touched Go format in a while, but I've been playing a lot of in-person Edison format, which has been super fun. And the deck I'm trying to make work right now is Welledad, which I'm showing on the screen. Super fun deck. If you guys aren't familiar with the deck, basically it's just like a explosive synchro spam deck. You're running Krebins and emergency teleport and telekinetic power well, which is basically like a soul charge for these Krebins. And you're also running a zombie package and you're just busting out level 6 and 8 synchros. So that's what the deck does. I've been having a hard time with this deck because it's so difficult. It's like difficult to build as well as to pilot the deck. Like to play this deck, you have to play a very airtight game. Like it's a very unforgiving deck. It can be super explosive, but you need to manage your resources really well. And if you make the wrong synchro at the wrong time, you could just completely gas yourself out and lose. Basically, like if you make Goyo at the wrong time, or you use Plague at the wrong time, or you make the wrong level 8, you make like Thought Ruler instead of Colossal or something. Like you could just single-handedly lose from that. And the deck is also very, special summon dependent, so it loses to things like Roll Oppression. Um, Also, DD Crow just slaps this deck in in the face. So it's a tricky deck, but I think it's super fun, and we've been trying to make it work. The build is pretty standard, I think, except for the fact that I'm running triple Powerwell. Most builds play two. I tried out two. Right now, I'm just trying out three. I think this card is absolutely busted. Um, so we're just testing out three at the moment. It hasn't been an issue so far, but we haven't really gotten too many games with it yet. And then the other thing to call out is the trap lineup. I guess this is probably more traps than a standard build would run. I think Bottomless is really good. I'm opting to play D Prisons instead of Wind Blast. I know most lists play Wind Blast, but I really have not been a fan of Wind Blast because like your hand size is already kind of an issue since you're playing Greffer, and the deck basically gets Plague and Mally in the grave so quickly since you're playing Arma and Greffer that like once you get these two in the grave, there's not really much else that you want to pitch from your hand except for Mizuki or a dead Krebins. Um, but it really just feels bad to go 2 for 1, and there's a lot of times where like you're forced to use Wind Blast where you don't really want to, and you have to discard a card that you don't want to. So I'd rather just play a more consistent, reliable 1 for 1 trap like Deep Prison. So that's what we're testing out. You can ignore the side deck. Extra deck is also still work in progress. Just looking at it, like I should probably take out this android and maybe put in Mistworm. I've been thinking about, or either that or the level 6 piercing synchro. I forget its name. Um, but yeah, with that, let's just jump right into things. I'm playing against Quick Draw here, which is another viable competitive deck, but also not tier one, which is basically what I think this deck is in a similar tier to this deck. And this dude's build is probably not optimal and not as competitive as it could be, from my opinion. And he also didn't really side, I think, between the games. So take all these with a grain of salt. But the gameplay was super exciting, so I just wanted to show you this replay. He's starting off first. Starts with a set. I assume that this is a Raiko, and it is a Raiko, so that's pretty good for me. Search the Plague, set the Bottomless, and then he sets one. So he milled a Plague, and then I take this opportunity to use my Zombie Master to reborn his Plague. I decide to pitch. I mean, I could just pitch Plague and reborn Plague, but I decided to get the Mally out of my hand because that is a harder card to get into the grave. Um, so we make a Revive King, which is pretty sweet right now because he does indeed have a flip effect. So we negate that. And luckily we also have the Bottomless for the Titanial. So we're in a pretty good spot right here. He does have the Drill Warrior follow play, which is kind of nice. And he also has his Caius locked and loaded in his hand, so that's not great for us. I summon this Greffer and pitch my Plague and put a Krebins in the grave. And here I make a pivotal misplay. Here I make a pretty bad misplay. One, like I'm playing into Mirror Force, which I'm not too worried about since I have follow-up, but I'm more worried about protecting this return. right here, I'm like, what are the odds that he said an MST or Dust Tornado? I mean, I was not even expecting Dust Tornado, to be honest. But what I could have done is I could have brought back Plague or even really Krebins with this Power Well and made a level 8, which would probably be Stardust. And I think that would not have been a bad idea at all. Um, yeah, I think that would have not have been a bad idea. I was getting a little greedy. I wanted to get value out of the Stratos, so I wanted to summon it and search for Mally and stack that for Plague. So that was my thought process there, and I wanted to get like more value out of this Power Wall than just bringing back one. But I could have made Stardust and protected this return because he ends up destroying the return, which makes this game a lot harder for me to win. And over here, it's not looking super great. So he makes an Iron Chain. Okay. Um, and at this point, I have a lot of darks in the grave, right? I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and top deck a dad. So I have, yeah, one, two, three, seven darks, which is really unfortunate because I can actually, let's see, I can get three of them out of the grave, right? I can get Malicious, Plague, and Krebins out of the grave, and that would be four darks. So I'm really just one dark away from being able to drop Dark Arm, which is unfortunate. But at least right here, I can make some synchro plays. I think I make a Goyo. Um, and I clear his tokens because I don't want him to have a Caius follow-up play. Um, and then I synchro this into a Stardust right here. Um, yeah, I don't know if Stardust was the move, to be honest. I maybe should have made Colossal Fighter. Maybe I don't know. Synchroing with this deck is hard, but it ends up not really making too big of a difference here for me. Um, Heavy just in case. I even thought this could have been called the Haunted, but I was just like so afraid of him deep prisoning this Stardust. Um, so I just ripped the heavy, and this is not looking good. He's getting so much value off Drill Warrior. He summons Caius. I just scoop right there because I don't think I'm going to come back from that. I've used most of my gas. So going on to game two, I start first. I didn't side do heavy. I basically just put in some crows. Um, Here, attack into the Raikou with the Sangan. I've been really lucky that I haven't attacked into Hamster. I dump the Plague. Sorry, not Plague. I dump the Mally. He tries to Debris. I DD Crow that. And my Arma gets a live turn, and dumping DD Crow also puts three darks in the grave for Dark Armed, so I'm going to try to make a big play right here. Pop one back row, pop two back row. They're both not defensive cards, kind of bluffs. And now we're just going to go absolutely ham. Make two level 8s, or sorry, 8, 6, and Dark Armed, pop his card, and just pray that he doesn't have Gores right now. And this is well over 8,000 damage. And even if he does have Gores, I can still pop that. And I also have Brain Control. So that was game two. And game three was the exciting one. This one was absolutely crazy. I think I made like 5 synchros in this game. It starts off with Raikou. Okay, hand is looking like a slow start. This is not the worst trade for me. He mills Dandelion, which is a nice mill. Over here, I know he's on Dust Tornado, so if I'm going to set, I'm going to try to set multiple to bluff him out. And what I like to do is I always set the card that I don't care about first, because most people will, if they're going to blind MSD or Dust Tornado, they usually hit the one that you set first because they think that like usually the one that people set first is one that they value more. So I intentionally set the one I don't want to be hit first. Sorry, I intentionally set the one I do want to be hit first, and he takes that bait and he gets rid of the Trap Stun, which is fine. I set the Trap Stun in case I want to chain it in a follow-up turn. But luckily we have this Torrential. I have the Torrential here because, I mean, he's going to get the tokens for sure, but I can't risk him making a Black Rose since I have Torrential and Mirror Force in my hand. Sorry, I can't risk him making a Stardust Dragon. So I have to Torrential there, but he gets the tokens. And I'm like, I summon this Krebins. I'm like, as long as he just doesn't have Caius, then, I could actually play this game. But he does have the Caius, which sucks. Mirror Force, and now he's up in card advantage. I have this return, so this is a potential comeback play for me. I have Mizuki in the grave, but nothing to reborn with it. He makes a Black Rose, doesn't blow up the field, which is good for me. I don't really care about taking damage because return just says pay half. Summon Krebens, and he has Mirror Force, and like I'm like shoot, uh, I should have MST'd that I guess, but yeah, I should have MST'd that to guarantee that this Krebens stays on the field. Maybe that was a misplay for me. Taking big damage right here, and then I top deck this Arma, so I guess it actually works out decently well that I save this MST because now I can use this on this bottomless. Um, so my plays are going to be pretty good right here, or are going to be safe. So I guess it works out that I didn't use the MST, and I topped with this Arma, which is huge because I can put Plague into the grave, so I can use Mizuki, and I do a pretty cool play right here. Put Plague, remove Mizuki, bring back Goyo. Sorry, not bring back Goyo. I summoned this instead because I think I'm going to Synchro Climb to get this Plague removed from play. So I'm just going to use this Burner level 6. Make a Stardust right here and use Return. Was there something I could have done differently here? I suppose I could have... No. Is there any way that I could have made Dark End instead of Stardust? No, because that needs a dark non-tuner, which I don't think there's any level 6 dark non-tuner that I could have made. Okay, so I do this play. I'm like, do I want to make Goyo and steal this Black Rose? But I really cannot leave him with any monsters on the field in case he has a Caius follow-up play. So I need to get rid of everything here. So I decided just to attack everything. Yeah. And we have a Stardust, so he can't pop. He just mills. And then I end up making... Here's an interesting play. So I end up making Revive King because the Krebens is going to get removed from play at the end of the turn anyway. So I figured I would just Synchro Climb into level 8 and put Revive King in the grave because I could also bring back Revive King with Mizuki. And then I thought Thought Ruler is like a decent card to lay on the field in case he has like Brain Control. Maybe I should have made Colossal. I'm not sure, but I'm also low in life points and thinking I can maybe get some of that back. So I made a Thought Roller right there. But he does have Lone Fire into Titania, which is awful for me. And we know what we're gonna top deck. We know it's a Caius. So at this point, I think I have to use a Mizuki to bring back a zombie and tribute for Caius and trade with the Titanial, which doesn't feel good. But at least it means I have this Thought Roller on the field. So I'm chilling right here. There is a potential comeback to be made. I gain a little bit of life points right there, but now he has card advantage, and I'm afraid he's going to summon Caius, but he doesn't. I top deck this Reinforcement of the Army, summon an Arma, and put Mally in the grave. And here's where I'm thinking I can make a really sick play. Let me know if you guys see it, but I'm gonna try to make a RDA so I can get rid of his defense position monsters. So at this point, I'm like, yo, I'm about to make a sick comeback. I deserve this match. I felt like that was a super sick play, but unfortunately, like, this is the only way that he wins right here, by having a level 4. And he has level 4 to make a level 6 and attack me for lethal, which is super, super unfortunate. I'm pretty sure, like... Okay, sorry, never mind. He had Brain Control anyway, so he could still Brain Control and attack over this Arma. So it didn't really matter, I guess, but I did my best. I ended up making, let's see, how many level 8s? I made 3 level 8s and 3 level 6. Sorry, yeah, 3 level 8s and 2 level 6s that game, which is absolutely crazy. And yeah, I did my best here, but he ended up taking it. Let me know if you guys enjoyed that match. I thought it was super exciting. And I'll probably be making more Edison content moving forward, since that's kind of where the hype's at right now. And I'll probably record some of my live matches soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.